What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. My name is Zach Hernandez, and as always, I am joined by my co-host, Matt Llewellyn, and today we're going to be discussing KJ Wright possibly becoming a 49er. Matt, I might be a little ahead of myself, but he was recently replying to a fan on Twitter who basically said, hey, man, I love that you reply to fans. I wish you the best of luck wherever you go, as long as it's not San Francisco. And he replied, what's wrong with SF? So a lot of fans are thinking, oh, okay, he has no qualms with coming here. Should the 49ers go after him? What do you think?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to say it's really interesting that some fans are just like, as long as it's not this place, as if the players care. You know, that's one of the things that separates fans from players is that there's this just animosity towards your rival team, right? That isn't carried inside of the player base. Far from, when you're on the field, of course, there's that. But from a business standpoint, it's not like they care about what jersey they're putting on, or they're like, oh, I'm definitely not going to this city because I used to play against them. They're in it to make money. It's a business. So, of course, KJ Wright's going to be like, what's wrong with San Francisco? Money's green everywhere. It all spends. For me, I look at it as KJ Wright's a good player. And if he wants to sign for a reasonable amount of money for a short term, I don't see anything wrong with that. He's 31 years old. He has some mileage on him, but he is a good player. You can't be giving him big money, though. I just don't see it. So would I oppose him being here? Not under the right circumstances. I think that the linebacker spot is pretty good so far, but, it doesn't help. I think there's other needs. But yeah, my opinion is if KJ Wright wants to come here on a 49er friendly deal, I'm all for it.
It's funny you add that because he was on CBS Sports Radio and they asked him if he would take a discount to stay in Seattle. And he said, quote, I do way too much on the football field to take a discount. It makes absolutely no sense. If you want to win all these championships and look good on Sundays, you've got to compensate your guys that are making plays. He came out a 4th-round pick out of Mississippi State in 2011. So he's really made a career for himself. And, the 49ers, the last Seattle linebacker they signed, obviously was Malcolm Smith. That didn't really seem to play out well. Yeah, but they're two completely different players. So I would be happy with KJ Wright, but I don't think he's going to take a discount for any team, especially – I don't want to say especially the 49ers, but if it's not for Seattle, I don't think he would for the 49ers. But I think that he's a solid player. I mean, I'm looking at his stats here, and going back to 2014 through 2020, only 2 seasons he didn't have over 100 tackles. Last season he had 86. Season before that he had 132. He's played all 16 games the last 2 years. He stays healthy. But like you said, the linebacker core is kind of the strongest unit on the 49ers defense. So there are much bigger areas of need that they should be looking to add to. I mean, maybe that's just me.
No, I agree. He's a luxury item at this point. And like you said, it's very clear he's not going to take a hometown discount. So he definitely won't take an away town discount. I think what Seattle's doing is that they're betting there won't be a big market for him and that he'll pass through free agency and the first wave of free agents will be signed and the money will start to dry up. And then they'll be like, you want to come home? And in that circumstance, if he was going to take a discount, it would probably only be with Seattle. Just because, I mean, if you're going to play for someone, why not play for the system especially if it's just going to be the same money, right? But, the devil is better than the devil you don't. And so, when all is said and done, either a team is really going to pay him, which the 49ers can't afford, or if he's going to be cheap, he's probably going to go back to Seattle. Either way. I don't see KJ Wright being here, but it's cool to know that, to have it reiterated for the fans who don't seem to understand. Players do not care about the decal on the helmet or, the name on the front of the jersey. They care about the zeros in their bank account, and they care about going somewhere where they're comfortable, or if it's not just the money, it's a place where they have a chance to win. And unfortunately, Seattle made the playoffs last year. The 49ers didn't. So from that, really that look at it, it stands to reason that most people would think that Seattle at this point is better than the 49ers. And it would, with the results, it's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah. I mean, especially going down to just quarterback, the most important position, arguably. As long as they have Russell Wilson, they're going to be up there. They're going to be a contender, at least for the playoffs. I'm trying to think.
Don't believe the smoke, by the way. Don't believe the smoke on Russell Wilson getting traded. His cap number's too big. He's got like a 33 million dead cap. They're not gonna. No, they'll. If anything, and if it were me, I would pick Russell Wilson over Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll's almost 70 years old, man. Like, it might be time to move him if he's not willing to take, suggestions from, arguably a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. Yeah. What else is there?
And his shtick, it almost reminds me of Harbaugh. It's like it works really well with college players, young players coming in the NFL, but you see guys like Earl Thomas, Richard Sherman, that did not work as soon as they got into kind of their veteran years in the NFL. It grows old quick. So I totally agree with you. I'd take Russell over Pete any day. And I know you talked about the dead cap. The Eagles just paid a lot of money to trade Carson Wentz. So
yeah, his trade dead cap was lower than what people thought, though, and it's lower than what Russell's would be if they traded him. And that was legitimately. You're talking about they just fired their coach. Carson Wentz is a toxic dude. By all accounts, he's a toxic teammate. And they were looking to move. They look like they're about to blow this whole thing up and start over. So if they eat dead cap for a year, who cares, right?
Fair.
I think it's a little bit different situation.
Yeah. I'm thinking about this in the sense of, I know he says what's wrong with SF. My question for you is this might sound a little messed up, but what's good with SF? Are they a viable team that free agents are wanting to come to, or are we kind of seeing them? Obviously, we're fans of the team. We're going to think they're a preferred destination. Are they in a player's mind that's looking for money and a chance to win?
If you're looking for a chance to win and play for a good coach, this is a place that you want to come. Health notwithstanding, when the team is healthy, they win. So yeah, it's just going to be dependent on what they're willing to do from a money standpoint, because the 49ers have tied themselves up in the cap a little bit. And so their options going forward are going to be limited. And, like we talked about with Jimmy Garoppolo's contract, it's just like, they're sitting on $24 million that they're not going to be able to do anything with in free agency because they're kind of, dragging their feet on the quarterback situation. So it in one aspect, San Francisco is a desirable place to go and play just for, the prestige of the franchise. Kyle is viewed as one of the best coaches in the league. The roster's pretty good. They were in the Super Bowl the year before last. So, there are positives going for it. But if it's strictly a financial thing, I don't know that we're going to get many top flight free agents.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And unfortunately, they had the one really good year. And then last year, I've never seen a year like the 49ers had in 2020. It was truly the year from hell. Injuries, obviously COVID. If you would have told me they couldn't finish the season at Levi's, I would have thought an earthquake hit Santa Clara. I never would have thought regulations and, stuff like that would have forced them out of their home stadium. So yeah. Last season, you could call a little bit of a fluke. I can't imagine they're going to have that amount of injuries again moving forward. But I guess anything's possible. I do think that when you take Kyle Shanahan into situation or into account, the 49ers, if you're not looking to get a ridiculously large contract, they are a viable, destination for some player to come and have a chance at succeeding. I think it's good. I think that they could work out for some players. Now, on the other end, the 49ers have to weigh, keeping their own players versus signing fresh new guys. And that's going to be tough as well because they have a very limited amount of money to spend with Jimmy's cap. We keep discussing because it's just a vital part of this whole equation.
Yeah, I agree. Everything you said is pretty spot on. It's just going to, how they bounce back from last year is going to be an interesting thing to watch, from the talent that's leaving to talent they have to replace it with, what they do with Jimmy, whether they keep him or not. It's all going to happen and unfold in front of our eyes in a way that none of us will probably expect. I don't think that any of us is going to call it down the line on what they're going to do. So yeah, all we can do is kind of sit back and wait for the beginning of the league year, March 17th this year, St. Patrick's Day. So once that rolls around, I mean, we're gonna see, and we'll know quick too on a lot of the big time free agents. Trent Williams is going to be a domino that falls quickly. I know that they have that 3-day legal tampering, I think, beginning March 14th. So, you know, we're going to know real quick what we're looking at going forward, because if we lose Trent Williams, all of a sudden left tackle becomes a huge thing too, and that could completely change the dynamic of what's going on. So until that point, your guess is as good as mine.
I think that's going to do it for this episode, guys. I want to thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Niners News here on 49ers Hive. If you like what you see, do us a solid. Hit that subscribe button below. We're trying to get to 2,000 subscribers. We're very close. Somebody's going to win a 49ers jersey once we do get there. Also, like this video and comment below. Do you want the 49ers to go after KJ Wright? Let us know.
Go ahead and click the bell for notifications so you never miss another new video. Thanks, as always, for joining us. Until next time, go Niners.